plan. There's no plan.
Hello.
Playoffs?
Hello, everybody.
You want to talk about the playoffs?
Welcome to Loud Dispatch.
Hey, we're Loud Dispatch. Welcome, everybody.
How's it going? I'm one of your hosts, Cheech.
I'm your other host, Mark.
And we have a special guest on today, Jeff, the Magic Whirl.
The magic. I like that.
The Magic.
Magic.
Yeah. We got a little bit of a new setup today. You know, we're moving up. We're not like in somebody's garage.
No, we're in a basement.
See what I mean? It's all uphill from here.
Yeah. The best thing about rock bottom is you can only go up.
That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Next will be in the dining room.
Just see like you just running past the screen.
Yeah.
It's all right.
There's shit stuff flying up everywhere.
Yeah, we also got this too. We have.
Hey,
that's part of. So that's the
soundboard.
thing now. Yeah, we got a soundboard.
So hey, wait, we want to start this sucker off.
Yeah.
We actually have somewhat of a real sponsor this time. We want to talk about the Buddy Bandana at thebuddybandana.com. When you make a purchase from them, your purchase helps feed dogs at a shelter. So it's very worth it. The point of the company is that they make dog bandanas with matching human counterparts like masks and scrunchies and hats. And so you can match your best friend, which is what life is really about, isn't it? So if you use code, I think WOOF is 40% off, WOOF, like, Buzz, your girlfriend, WOOF. Or you can use wash your hands, all one word, for 50% off. Wash your hands. So there we go, people. The Buddy Bandana. Check them out. They do good stuff.
Did you know Chris Columbus for that scene felt too bad about having a girl's picture there for Kevin McAllister to make that comment about?
So that's
so they dressed up a little boy in a wig and makeup so that
I'd heard that. Yes.
So they didn't give some little girl a complex.
I'd heard that. Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine being the girl that was Buzz's girlfriend in Home Alone?
That's
fortunately because of Chris Columbus.
We're talking about current Chris Columbus, not the asshole slave trader.
Yeah. Which is interesting that you bring that up too. Like when you
Wait.
Let's keep going.
we have a little bit of a new setup here, so
we're learning.
Yeah, we're learning with everything that goes on here. So Jeff, real quick, Jeff and I were in a band called The Dream Intended.
TDI,
yeah. And Mark was in a band called Drop Monday.
1 week at a time.
Yeah, and we have worked on so many different musical endeavors together and other things. But with that being said, we wanted to have Jeff on and we wanted to talk music because Jeff is one of those sleepers. He'll sleep on stuff and then he finds it and you're like, wait, what? How do you but then he'll come up with little gems himself out of the blue and you're like, what the heck? Where did you find this at? And we were actually just having this conversation right before we came in here. We were talking about the new MGK album, which if you guys haven't heard it yet, it dropped Friday, I believe.
The whole album dropped Friday. He's been dropping tracks from it for a few months now.
For people like me who didn't know what MGK was, it's Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah. Now, which
is really good stuff.
What I think is funny about it is the fact that when you look at the three of us, right? So I learned of Machine Gun Kelly as the Cleveland Machine Gun Kelly. And if you please pause for this quick chronic break.
Pause for the cause. Pause for the cause.
There's been many references.
Ooh.
At any rate. But
damn.
When you look at Machine Gun Kelly, I remember Machine Gun Kelly from 9 years ago, 10 years ago, dropping these hip hop tracks and looking way out of character, repping Cleveland, which at the time, the fuck is Cleveland? You know what I mean? Yeah,
I respect it because if that's your city, it's your city.
Right.
No, I mean, what's his name? Fucking rep Cleveland.
Bone Thugs and Harmony?
No, are they Cleveland?
Yes, dude.
Oh no, we're talking actor. What's his name?
I don't want
Drew Carey.
I don't want to do this.
No, that's.
But you said Bum Bum.
I did.
Do you know the story?
I don't know.
There is a huge mega fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony. I don't remember where he was from. It was an Asian country. I don't remember if it's East Asia, like India, or Far East Asia, like Japan, China, Korea. But this fan loved Bone Thugs and Harmony. So he decided, since Bone Thugs and Harmony always talked about East 1999 Street in
Eternal, yeah.
That he wanted to come to the United States and see Bone Thugs and Harmony. He left where he went, and he went and just sat on East 1999 Street in Cleveland.
Are you serious?
I knew that was coming.
Expecting, because he listened to the music, that they would just be chilling.
Right.
Just to run into busy bum or something.
Yeah, you know.
So the poor guy was wrong.
Obviously.
I was gonna say he's still sitting there today.
That's clear.
I did read in the story that somebody, I don't know if they were somebody pull him in the house.
What are you doing, you dumb shit?
But then I'm sure they realized what was going on. Brought him aside,
Oh my God.
out of harm's way.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
Like,
You
what?
can't fix stupid.
You
That's the point of the story.
Stupid, but like, we're talking about somebody that's.
All right, let me ask you this. No. Let me ask you this. If you fell in love with, say, let's say an Indian group. In fact, I love this one group. It's Indian street metal is what they call it.
Indian street metal?
Yeah, Bloodywood.
Okay.
It's really cool stuff. It's so cool, man. It's really good. But anyway, so like I really like the band, but I know enough not to just go over there and think I'm going to sit on a street and meet them and not run into some fucking trouble.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like there's some common sense there that
I don't disagree with that.
And further to going against this common sense is
no, right?
And then we're talking about like the soup kitchens and like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this band talks about all this shit they grew up in. I'm gonna go check it out. I don't know anything about America, but I'm gonna go there. Do not apologize on this ever again.
Yeah, that's
all you
the
gotta
whole
do
point.
is say segue. Segue.
That's you don't even have to say segue. That's the whole point of this podcast. What I was getting at before though is just the fact that like I know of MGK from like the 9 years ago. You know the MGK of like what was it? What did you say you heard the first?
I first became aware of it after.
That's right. Okay. Right. The most recent rap battle between him and Eminem.
Right. And I'm not even sure that I ever listened to White Devil. I know I listened to Eminem's Kill Shot, but I'm not sure that I ever listened to White Devil all the way through. I was aware that MGK was the one who had the balls to do a diss track against Eminem, and he was the one to get fucking destroyed by Eminem.
No, you know what? Fuck Eminem. Because maybe it'll get us a whole bunch of publicity because he'll start talking shit on LOUDdispatch.
No, he won't.
Because he really doesn't give a shit. Who am I?
No.
All right. We love you, Eminem. I was just trying to get some publicity. I was going to use your name. Sorry about it.
No. Yep.
That's how I became aware of this person.
You know how I knew about him?
As far as picking like stage names, that's amazing.
Yeah,
because he played in the dirt. He was Tommy Lee.
He played Tommy Lee.
Yeah, that's all I know.
He did. That is also correct as well. But okay, so with that being said, right now we have seen like the different areas of like where, and this I think is where musicians get pigeon-toed. Right? Like, pigeonholed, yeah. Pigeon-toed.
Pigeon-toed is when you walk like this.
Right. You're
or duck-footed even. You know?
Well, that's the same idea.
But pigeonholed is where you get put into a.
It's the same thing.
No, it's it's not the same. It's not even close.
If the feet are pointing together, you're going to meet at the same place.
You can walk like this.
Regardless, what I'm saying is that Machine Gun Kelly to me was a rapper turned actor. You're right, but like you can't be like if you're in the industry, you're expected to do everything in the industry, right? Like if you're an actor, you're expected to be able to
do all
sing
kinds
and
of
dance
acting.
and like everything else.
Okay.
But like, what if you only have one good quality? And like, you can definitely make it work to your advantage. And I'll bring this up because we were talking about the MGK album, and the first thing that I said was when I listened to this like punk rock album that he has, I was like, this sounds like Blink 182, like meets like with just like Machine Gun Kelly lyrics on it. Like every songwriter has this certain quality about them, this style about them that makes them their own.
A trademark sound.
Right. With that being said, you have artists that can work with anybody as well, too. And I'm gonna bring up a couple people that, like, personally, I think are just amazing, like musicians and like all around creative beings, right? Like,
Uncle
so
Cracker.
that was definitely not where I was going whatsoever.
See, you need to listen to the song "No Stranger to Shame." That is by far like my theme song.
Do I need to though?
Yes,
I don't
you
think you do.
So if I had to have
no.
an artist write an album like my soundtrack,
Yeah,
it would be Uncle Cracker because he can do
really.
rock, rap, gospel, metal, funk, blues. He does them all in his album. So and I really like him as a lyricist. His song "No Stranger to Shame" very clearly describes my life.
This might be our last podcast. I don't know.
I don't think so. Listen,
Real
Cheech
guy
likes
there,
really
right?
crappy fucking horror movies. So
All right.
we're even.
All right. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Shitty
Speaking
horror
of movies, I'm going to mention one later. Not during because I would keep this going, but I got one to talk about later.
How do you guys feel about calling and this is a total segue, but like segue, yeah. Oh shit! Now I can't even think of the name of the band. But the term master metal, right? Like, what bands would you classify under master metal?
Megadeth.
Well, what do you? This is the first time I've heard that term.
Yeah.
Right.
So right off the top of my head, right off the top of my head, without a description, I'm going to say people like Megadeth, Slayer,
the Big Four.
Big Four, Anthrax, and Metallica. Well, you know.
What about Coheed and Cambria?
I wouldn't put them at master level.
I would put them. I would definitely put Coheed and Cambria. I would think that they would be the spokesperson for master metal.
So master metal is more like metal.
Are you talking math rock? Yeah.
I'm talking. when I say master metal, I mean master of the craft. In other words, being able to deliver not only a story but having hooks to
orchestrating the music correctly.
Orchestrating the music correctly and still being heavy as shit without having to like scream, but being able to scream as well and using it.
I say masterful orchestration is what makes master metal. When you said that was my first thought is people who have mastered the craft.
Right.
Megadeth. And I will tell you right now, I think Megadeth would have been commercially a lot more popular than Metallica had somebody other than Dave Mustaine sung. Now, I love Dave Mustaine singing, and that is the sound of Megadeth now. But had somebody with a more commercial voice sang for Megadeth, I think musically they were 10 times the band. No, you're right, but it is, yeah. That's not even spelled right though. So irritating. But yeah, I feel like they could have been better. They were more. Their music was a lot more in the math rock, very technical, very well orchestrated. So yeah, I'm an old I grew up on Megadeth, Metallica. Old metal is my thing.
That's very interesting.
So, yeah, I think definitely Coheed and Cambria is there. Recently we went to see Taking Back Sunday and Coheed and Cambria. I was super excited to see Taking Back Sunday. I'd never seen them before. I'd seen Coheed before. Saw them with A7X, who I would also put on this list of master metal.
Interesting.
Just because of the. I don't even listen to that shit. But I recognize what they do,
right?
And they're good at it. So
you appreciate it.
Credit where
it's due. Right.
But I saw both of those bands, and both of them blew me away live. This was many years ago. But the point of the story is I was excited to go see Taking Back Sunday, and I was like, okay, well, Coheed is a nice bonus since we're playing together. And I wasn't sure who was going to play first. Taking Back Sunday came on first, and I was a little surprised because to me at that time and what I was listening to, Taking Back Sunday had a much larger catalog of singles and stuff. So I expected them to play last, but they didn't. And they came out and they were fine. They weren't great. They were good. Their singer kind of, I felt like he was kind of phoning it in on like some of the hooks. Like he would sing the first part of the note and then just kind of be like,
I'm done.
I mean, they were good, right? And then Coheed and Cambria came on, and about 5 seconds into their first song, I thought to myself, "Oh yeah, this is why they're playing last."
Yeah. So I do. No, go ahead.
So towards the end of the song, and this is the most recent Coheed song that I fell in love with. Towards the end of their set, he stopped. Claudio stopped. And he had been talking about a lot of this particular day about how Mars was in the sky.
Okay.
He said, I in our set right here, I always play Wake Up, which is a slow acoustic song. He said, I can play that now, or I can play From Here to Mars right now. Or Here to Mars.
Here to Mars.
Right. And I didn't know that song. Right. So when he did like the crowd thing, I'm screaming for Wake Up, like I want to hear that song.
Right.
No, I don't know this other
Right.
song.
What is this other song?
But everybody screamed for Here to Mars. I was pissed for about 5 seconds until he started playing that.
Until you heard the song.
Right.
And when I heard the chorus of that song, which if you don't know it is, it's in the stars. You're my everything from here to Mars. I was like, oh my God, that's how is it?
Really?
Hasn't anybody written that fucking song before? It's right there, stars, Mars. Like what happened? But it's fucking beautiful. Like, and the song itself is one of my favorite songs of all time now.
We need padding.
I listen to it constantly. It's on my randos playlist of just random songs that I want to listen to, but they don't really fit in another playlist of mine.
Yeah.
I just put it on there.
I just have one downloaded. That's like everything I want to listen to all the time.
That's the problem.
I add stuff to it.
Coheed and Cambria is on there.
So my thing with Coheed and Cambria, so how old is that band? I like them, but no, well, that's what like. So part of master metal to me, you have to have, I'd say 20 years experience to be considered a master of that craft. Maybe 15, but I think the Hall of Fame is 20 years. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They are I would say it's probably 2003, 2005.
So they're close.
When second stage Turbine came out.
Yeah.
They're close.
That wasn't my introduction. My introduction to the second album, Good Apollo.
Okay. All right. So they're like in there then. Okay. Okay. That's all. I was just curious because to me, I think age has to factor into master metal.
So I'm just looking like briefly like Google search. I mean, we're talking like back to 1999 is when they released Plan to Take Over the World.
What are we going to do today, Brain?
Yeah, and they've been releasing albums like pretty much every year since, like with here and there.
Yeah.
But they are just an incredible band. I mean, and there's a lot of them out there too. I'm not just talking about like, I don't want people to think that like I'm just bringing up master metal to bring up master metal. No, there's a whole point to this subject. And it's, when you look at like the certain styles of music and you see these creative types, certain people have different styles where you can just hear it. You can, that like.
If I hear a ZZ Top guitar play, it doesn't matter whose song it is. I know that's Billy Gibbons playing guitar. Like there's a unique sound to Billy Gibbons guitars in his playing. You just know it, right?
Absolutely.
I agree with you that people have a sound, and then there are people that are over and above needing to have a sound.
I agree. I think that there are some people like, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw this name out there, and I know both of you guys are gonna like Weird Al Yankovic.
Fucking right, he can play anything.
This dude can literally do anything. If
He's
you,
a genius.
There's
no denying.
Yeah.
He's an absolute genius.
Absolutely.
My dad met him at a Starbucks once.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's serious.
That's awesome.
Well,
that is awesome.
I hear a really, really good.
Oh, he's a great guy.
I can't imagine him not being.
Yeah, you can't be that goofy and be an asshole.
Did you guys know that he like wrote? He was pretty much like the writer of like the presidents of the United States of America.
I did know that. Yeah.
Like,
when you hear it,
there's no doubt in my mind.
lump.
Right? Yeah, like lump.
Peaches.
Like, peach.
You gotta talk about peaches.
My man was like the original parody king, but he wrote for so many artists. And when you look at like people like that, right? Like.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Butch Walker, who we were talking about earlier. Like Butch is one of those guys where, and I remember this is so funny to me because all three of us are huge Butch fans, right?
Mhm.
But here's the thing. So I distinctly remember watching the VMAs when Taylor Swift's "Shake It Off" was like a big thing, right? And she performed "Shake It Off" at the VMAs, and on stage, Butch Walker is playing guitar because he wrote the fucking song, right? Right? Wrote and produced it. So he's on stage playing guitar for Taylor Swift, and everybody on social media is like, "Who is this tattooed guy playing guitar for Taylor Swift?" And it was like,
Only the greatest front man ever.
Are you? Meanwhile, right? I'm over here like fucking like, oh,
It's Butch!
Butch Walker, like,
Oh yeah.
right. Right. Oh my God.
I think that actually, if you really look at it, you can track pretty much everybody that I know that likes Butch Walker to like that original group of people.
Yes.
Brando is my connection to Butch.
Right, and then it goes back and forth with that, but I'm sure it's like that for him across the world, where somebody who either liked Marvelous 3 or someone who heard Mixtape or Sober and then was like, I need to hear more, and then grabbed all of their friends who were like-minded and musical people and said, you need to hear this, and then all of a sudden he has these little pockets of fans. And,
Butch yelled at me for texting at a show.
I remember
that. You guys were both there. That's right.
Yeah.
I wish I had my camera like on and facing up though. I'd have snapped that. He looked right over my phone. I'd click.
What's crazy is Butch Walker. I've seen him live so many times, and I remember seeing him at Stage AE, but it wasn't on the main stage, it was on the rear stage. And at that show, I think you guys were both there actually.
It was on the inside.
Yeah. He ran down the entire bar, right? Ran up to the balcony, did a shot with somebody, and somehow managed to get back down to the stage, all while playing in the middle of a song. He was just riffing the whole time, like.
Yeah, that's when he yelled at me. He came walking down the long end of the bar, and I was at the corner texting somebody, and he stopped. And I'm like, huh. I don't hear him talking to anybody. I looked up, but he was right there.
He's in the middle of a song.
Yes.
In the middle of a song, he's just riffing with the band, and he's walking down the bar, and Mark is sitting at the corner of the bar. That's what I'm talking about. Like he was able, like some people just ooze like artistry, and like you can't stop it. You know what I mean? Like
you also can't discount the time factor.
Absolutely.
Hear the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Butch has been doing it. Like I've read his autobiography. Like literally since he was 14, he's been playing shows every fucking night.
Yeah.
Right.
And then him and his band moved to LA, and they played the Sunset Strip, and they were playing covers at this bar. And they would sneak in originals whenever the owner wasn't listening. Back then, we weren't allowed to play originals.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they did their thing, and then they stopped, and they needed Marvelous 3. And then Marvelous 3 had to break up because the label wasn't going to promote them anymore, and they couldn't keep making music under the Marvelous 3 name because the label owned that.
Right. Correct.
So then he went and did solo shit, and then he's been writing for other people. And this is in no way downplaying his talent, because the talent is fucking there.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, he's incredible.
The musicianship is there, and just the ability to write good songs and write good. There's no 10,000, 20,000 hours can't replace that. But when you take that talent and then you add the time and just the experience, that's how you get somebody that can walk down a bar, play the guitar,
master their craft,
just talk some shit, and then go back and
master their craft. That's why I'm talking the 20-year thing, because that's the 10,000 hours, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. In all honesty, you look at artists. All right, so I'm going to throw somebody else out there. How about Dave Grohl?
Oh man,
like
what an artist!
I was thinking the other day, like I would love to see Dave Grohl and Butch Walker collaborate on a song.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling they wouldn't.
That was my first. I swear to God, dude, that was my first thought. Was like, these two are gonna love each other, but as soon as they sit down in the studio, they're gonna fucking hate each other. Like,
yeah.
Okay,
right?
You were the drummer of
yeah.
since the Beatles.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Which enough is,
Created grunge.
right, which is that in itself is
Yeah, right.
like, I don't want to fucking hear it.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Look out!
Did I mention that I was the drummer for the one?
Did you see the Smells Like Teen Spirit video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that guy.
So then, I'm sure you noticed that.
No.
We were just so fucking songs that he wrote in high school,
Yeah,
and also afterwards,
right.
and he took his time and recorded an instrument.
Yep. This
Do
is,
you know how that happened? No, there's more to that story.
there's
So
This is all
while they were recording the last album,
lay it on them.
and
Preach.
Cobain was not showing up
Mhm.
ever. So while he's
Correct.
in the studio sitting, he's like, "We're paying for time. Why don't I just throw down some other songs, some tracks?" And they put the whole album down before Kurt even killed himself.
Yeah.
And they just did
Yeah.
it because they had nothing better to do with the time.
Right.
And
And
then
the
all of a
time was
sudden,
already paid
Foo
for.
Fighters come out. One of the
Right.
He just picked that. He just picked that.
Yeah.
He never meant to make the band Foo Fighters.
yeah.
He just-
I think it's awesome.
Right.
That-
it is.
And I want to start a band called Erectile Death. ED.
What style of music is AD? Just out of curiosity.
ED?
What
Oh.
AD? What style of music is that?
What's AD? Erectile. ED.
ED.
Yeah, like penis.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's
what's
metal.
that?
It's obviously the most brutal metal. It's erectile death. I'm going to boner you to death. It's gospel.
It's like elevator music.
You'll hear it at your next church service. Yeah. No, it's the most brutal metal.
So here's this guy who's the drummer for one, influential band against the Beatles, which is no bullshit.
Straight up.
The Teen Spirit changed the world.
The 90s.
Overnight.
Yeah.
The world overnight.
Nirvana was the 90s.
Right. And crazy enough, he fucking Kurt Cobain did not.
No, he hated it.
No.
He didn't like the way it was produced. Butch Vig made it sound big and commercial, which was not what Kurt Cobain wanted. He wanted an album like In Utero, which was still great, but definitely very different than that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But so then Dave Grohl, he dies, puts off Foo Fighters, and then for the next 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
easily 20 years,
Mhm.
he just puts out album after album after album.
Yep.
With at
Hit
least
after hit.
one or two songs on it that are like
Yeah.
that any other band would give their left nut to write and record once.
Yes.
Oh,
Just to have that song.
he falls, breaks his leg, goes to the hospital, comes back, sits on a throne, and finishes the show.
Yeah. Straight up. Like this
Fucking
dude,
right.
like, in all honesty, like that is a quintessential like musician. Like that is like you think about like a rock star. Like Dave Grohl is the type of dude that like lived the rock star life, but actually made it through to the end. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Dave Grohl is like still up and kicking and producing music, and so is Butch Walker. And like these guys have been around that 20 years already, and like are still producing hits after hits after hits.
So there's levels of bands, right? There's bands like the Rolling Stones who have lasted decades, and they've done it with their own sound, with sticking to what they know.
But
Then there's bands like Aerosmith who have lasted the same amount of time, but they did it by fitting into the decades and the genres and making music that molds. U2 is another one. They've been able to mold their way through the decades,
Yeah.
writing songs, you know.
yeah, I agree.
Foo Fighters are another one, I think.
No.
But they stick more to their sound. They're more in the Rolling
They have their own
Stones.
style.
They have a sound, but they're able to. They do blend better than some other bands, I think, into the decades. Like you could look at their works of art and you could pinpoint early, middle, and whereas with the
do
Rolling
that.
Stones, people like our generation look at the Rolling Stones, they're not going to necessarily know early, middle, end, minus say recording quality. You know.
I beg to differ on that one.
Okay.
And the
Fair
only
enough.
reason, the only reason
I don't like
say
them
that-
anymore, but fair enough.
The only reason I say that is because if you listen to artists such as like Anderson .Paak, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like Anderson .Paak has like really tried to like stay true to himself, stay true to like roots, and like records however you want. It's the same in like film, right? Like, you don't need an expensive camera to have a pretty picture.
No. No.
It's what you're actually putting into it. So you have artists like Lil Jon, right? Remember him, who like basically created like auto tune, right? And used it to his knowledge. But meanwhile, the whole time Kanye West has been over here using auto tune to make entire beats. Like literally, he would sit there and talk into a microphone and then play with it with synthesizers and turn them into beats. And that's how 90% of his albums are produced, based off of him making his voice an actual beat. Now, with that being said, when you think about musicians that can make different levels of music, and we're going to circle back to the MGK thing, right? MGK releasing a punk album was just the logical next step for him, right? He's already run the gauntlet of rap, realized that it wasn't getting him anywhere, started doing some acting, and then this, and the first thing I said was, this sounds like Blink 182 with MGK talking on it. And what did you say?
Right. So during the deep dive that I did after listening to this album and being enamored with it and wanting to know like how this came about, because I felt the same way you did. Like it's definitely very Blink 182. I should.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew ahead of time that Travis Barker was playing drums.
See, I didn't. Yeah.
But and Ames produced it. But I did a little reading. I guess they collaborated on the previous album. It did really well for them. So they collaborated together. That's how My Bloody Valentine came from. Obviously, he loved that. So then he went and asked Travis, he said, hey, give me another 2 months for us to collaborate during this quarantine. And they got together and they put this album out. And they worked with Youngblood and a few other people. Some of the tracks that came out that were recorded during these sessions haven't been released yet. He decided to save them for future releases. So maybe they're less punk than this one was. But he the inspiration for this album was because MGK grew up listening to rock music, alongside rap music. Right? He loves Nirvana. And I love hearing like young kids talk about how they love Nirvana.
Right.
Right. It must be how it must be how adults felt whenever.
Listen to us, young kids.
I imagine I remember adults stopping me whenever I was in high school wearing a Jim Morrison t-shirt or like a Jimi Hendrix t-shirt and saying, good for you.
Yeah, good music, kid.
I mean, that's me, right? But, what's it say? But that's basically where we are too. I remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you see a kid with a Metallica shirt, you're like, all right.
Yeah, I was watching like behind the scenes thing from October.
Yeah.
I don't yet. I don't.
The kid that played Hawk was talking about how he likes to do it. This kid's like fucking 20 years old.
That's unbelievable.
But it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So when MGK wanted to make this album, he grew up listening to rock music. He wanted to make music to inspire kids to pick up the guitar and learn how to play guitar and rock music. And I think that's fucking dope.
Right.
And some of these songs are absolutely unbelievable. You could definitely tell that they're MGK songs based on what I've heard.
Right. Lyrically wise.
Lyrically and things he's talking about, but still very relatable and very reachable for any kind of audience. There's angst and then there's a vulnerability and all the things that make good art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking bangers. And I never in a million years would I have guessed. I guess 2020, right?
Oh yeah, right. Murder Hornets.
But would I've guessed that one of the best albums that I've heard in a long time would be written by the guy whom I first became aware of by getting fucking trashed by Eminem.
Yeah.
In a rap album. I've seen comment sections say that Eminem trashed him so bad that he had to stop making rap music and go.
So harsh, but so accurate.
Important question here, gentlemen.
Okay.
Are we going to keep going on this for a while, or are we wrapping this up soon? Because I'm out of beer.
Well.
And I might have to send Jeff on a beer run.
Well, we're only at a half an hour mark.
I know.
We can pause it and come back if you want.
Ooh.
Do we want to pause it?
Who thinks we could do it properly?
If we do it, we're coming back with some entrance music. So is that what we're doing? Are we going to pause?
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about a movie I saw that was really cool.
All right, we're pausing.
Really cool. We're pausing.
Back in 5.
Too bad.
Welcome back.
Like we're qualified to do any of this.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
What's funny is we can actually play this music.
This is the new
because-
Godsmack song.
Fuck you, man.
No, this is good shit.
You could have said a lot of bands that I would have been insulted by, but you
And
haven't.
Godsmack is a good band, actually. I like them. I like them a lot. You could blow me. At least I didn't say Nickelback.
That's true. You could have.
Yeah, I mean, I could have tried to insult you, but I didn't.
I don't see a whole lot of difference.
I like Godsmack. I mean, they had some shit songs.
I Stand Alone, their first single, I was okay with. But then when Voodoo came out, I was like, I'm fucking done with this band.
No, see, Voodoo was okay too. I didn't mind
I
Voodoo.
was the pickle mouse.
That's I think the biggest problem. Is
The
we don't know.
snake bit my ass.
This is actually mine and Jeff's band here that we're playing. That's why I said we were allowed to play this. This is The Dream Intended. For those of you who know, we were Pittsburgh based.
Huge in Japan.
Yeah, we're huge.
Oh my god, I had the best rip, and I'm not going to use it.
It's okay.
I was going to be
It's
like,
okay.
Jeff, who's that girl singing? I'm
fucked up.
kidding though.
No, it's cool.
I'm kidding.
It's true.
You do have a beautiful voice.
I have a very.
It is a
feminine
little.
voice.
It's on the higher range, is all. That's all. I'm just making
it
fun of
is.
you.
But
That was funny though, wasn't it?
It was
I'm like, is that chick singing?
part of the reason why it was funny is you said that, and I'm like putting on my armor like okay, what's this fucker about?
No, it wasn't
And
you.
then it was so
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
my expectations were so funny.
See, I secretly told you. Cheeks couldn't hear me.
You guys. I figured we'd come back from the break with some music there.
Yeah, but before we go on to anything else, because I want to mention a movie I watched,
Yeah.
and it's probably not going to go anywhere beyond that. But Netflix, there's a movie out right now, and it's called The Outpost.
Okay.
It is by far the most intense war movie I've ever seen in my life. You've seen things on it?
I've seen somebody. This is the second time in less than 24
I
hours.
posted on it just recently, so it might have been me. But yeah, so it's like it's all about an outpost in Afghanistan that was built in a valley with mountains surrounding it, and it was built by the Russians, but you know that was a while ago. The Americans took it. It is the most indefensible spot in the entire country, and we had a base there. And these guys were literally getting shot at every day, and they were testing them out, and lots of people died there. And then all of a sudden, the Taliban attacked them, and it takes 2 hours to get air support and everything, and just to watch this movie, and it's a true story, or based on a true story, and they're the most decorated squadron ever, I think, in the Army, and the first time in over 50 years that two people from the same squadron, same battle, received the Medal of Honor. I mean, you're talking like, yes,
Yeah.
When you see this movie, I was on the edge of my seat, hands were palms sweaty, mom's spaghetti on my sweater already. Like I was like, wow, it is just so intense, and it's gory. I will let people know that, and it's vulgar and stuff. It is the military base, but
it has to be.
it was so realistic to me. And I'll tell you what, I want to thank those dudes for putting up with what they. Holy crap! So yeah, The Outpost on Netflix. Check it out, guys. Let me know what you think.
In all honesty, and I haven't seen the movie, but we're just going to go from like a film aspect, right?
Mhm.
Trying to do a period piece is so fucking difficult. And even
Mhm.
like, okay, so let's segue back to where we were at before the break, right? Trying to do a period piece and trying to do something like recording on analog, right? Like we were just we just
like
took
trying to date your music, like move it.
Well, like what I'm saying is that like when you look at music, like what we were just talking about before, like the sampling aspect of like the music industry, right? Like how anybody can literally like sample themselves and just keep looping it and make a song, and like this is like, but the times have to change and everything has to change, so music obviously has to change as well. You look at like my daughter was watching this B2K or something like that. It's like a Southern or Northern Korean like pop band.
Oh, I've
like,
heard of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
South. Yeah, they're definitely South Korean.
So they're probably-
If they're North Korean,
Yeah.
they're never getting out.
they're like,
yeah, dude, they're like,
So they're Backstreet Boys.
so there's 7 of them, but there's actually 14 of them that they rotate in and out, right? And like
Smart.
it's just a commercialized band, but the fact that
Smart.
they actually were able to like perform songs in English when most of their songs are in Korean, it's like
Here's a trick. How do you get something that rhymes in Korean to rhyme in American
That's-
too? Like,
That's
wow. Anyway.
They're actually, their record company is doing public.
Oh.
In Korea, and I think they own it. The initial public offering is expected to go.
I do like stock talks.
Skyrocket without much stuff. But I know that they're taking this company public, and like
The initial offering is going to be huge.
yeah, because fans are so ravenous.
Yes.
Everyone's going to
Yes.
expect them to buy 1 or 2 shares just to say that they
I own a piece of B2K. No, you don't.
So here's an interesting point, right?
Wait.
When we
Go ahead.
well
Wait. No, go ahead.
when we talk about music in general, like you talk about selling the brand, and when you're in the music industry, like that's essentially what you're doing is you're selling a brand. So like, to circle back, when we started this, like, talking about this, and we talked about like the bands that we were in, it wasn't just putting out music to put out music. It was putting out music to put out a brand, and that's essentially what bands are doing. How you said they're getting ready to go public.
That's what we do.
Exactly the point.
BTS. Is that what you were saying?
B2K.
BTS.
BTS. Okay. I
It's
don't.
B2K.
I have
or
no-
BTS. That's what I mean.
I think B2K was like
That was a black group back in the like early 2000s. Yeah. Yeah.
It could be. There was a lot of making the bands. Like,
Dylon.
Segue.
we're not even getting into that. Like, I actually pay for like the MTV app, and like it has like all the episodes, like real rules, like all that.
You know what? Give me your login, and I'll give you my login for something. And no, I'm trying to get as
It's
many
okay.
things as I can.
Yeah, it's cool.
I gotta pay for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I got everything
See,
else.
this is the new
Like,
commodity.
everything else.
This is the new commodity.
is.
It's trading your logins.
It is your login
It's
for
true.
streaming networks. Wow.
Now I want you to think about this.
Holy
Like,
shit.
okay, so back in the day when we were growing up, right? Like, if you actually got like a mixtape from somebody, like, you knew that was like quintessential, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I can only imagine like the people that
Here's
have
my
like,
login, baby.
yeah, right? Like this is like a
This is
step.
my Amazon login. It means I love you. Let's get married.
I mean, it means something, is what I'm saying. Is like it's actually like a commodity. Like your login to a website is a commodity.
Can I tell you guys a quick story? Totally off subject.
Absolutely.
So at work, I've
We've
been.
been staying on subject.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. So at work, I'm a purchasing agent on my day job. I spend a lot of money for a company. And I did a
Awesome.
lot of my purchasing on Amazon through my own personal account, which is funny because my personal checking account is the primary card on there. So I can't tell you how many times I've spent my own money, like come like the end of the month when your mortgage is due, and I have like $600 in my own company's purchases. So anyways, I
Mhm.
finally got my company to get their own Amazon account and pay for a Prime and all that, because I do so much
beautiful.
purchasing through there, and it's like, oh my God, like
Why don't we
I
have
told my
it?
boss, I was like, I can't keep doing this. My wife is going to divorce me and kill me. Like, I have to, and he's like, oh yeah, I don't know why we didn't do that before. And, oh,
Well, and when you
So
think about
anyways.
it, like we're in this pandemic, and like everybody just thinks automatically like
order it online.
order online. Right. I mean,
Yep.
for literally anything, like we've said before, like I'm in the service industry, and like you order online and you go and pick it up, and there's curbside service. Like you don't just walk into like a restaurant anymore and go, ooh,
We're
that
getting
quiche looks
fatter.
good. It doesn't happen anymore. Like this is the new norm, and you just kind of have to get used to it and adapt to it.
Do
know
you
what I
think
mean?
we're always going to wear face masks the rest of our lives?
What do you think, Jeff?
I don't think so. I think it has been such a polarizing issue. That's all I'm going to say about it. Polarizing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get political
No,
here.
no.
Yeah.
But I would like to, just in the sense of, you guys probably know this, but in Asian countries, it is much more normalized to wear
Yes.
a mask than always has been.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
in Asian countries, when one gets sick,
Mhm.
that it is very normal for that person to start wearing a mask, not only so that they don't spread what they have to
Yeah.
other people. So
It's a common politeness to the people.
right.
Here's my take on it, though.
I would love it
So
if we did that.
I'm the kind of person that I firmly believe in. I'm a herd immunity guy. I do believe in vaccinations, not an anti-vaxxer. Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be stupid to not vax your kid, but whatever. If you don't, you don't. That's you.
Wow.
I disagree with it.
Wow.
That's not political.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and I'm a very big believer.
In case you had
Fucking round as hell. But I believe that like I'm the kind of person that I clean my hands after going to the bathroom and stuff, but I'm not super sanitary. If something falls on the floor, I'll pick it up and eat it. And I'll let my kids do that. I let my little 2-year-old, like, he'll drop something on the floor, pick it up, as long as it's not visibly like covered in a lot of dog hair or something, then he can eat it. And I'm a firm believer that building your immune system takes putting yourself in jeopardy. And you've got, I'm not against the masks. I do agree with that. I don't think just because I feel like I can handle stuff, I might be immune to something that I'm carrying that I could spread to somebody who is in danger, not just not immune to it, but in danger to it. So yeah, autoimmune. Yeah, exactly. But my belief is that we, at some point, you do need to keep in, when you're overly sanitary, your body never gets to build up a natural defense, and that's what it's meant to do. I would have to admit that even overweight, I'm healthier than most people that I know.
With that being said, right? Like, I'll put it to you this way. Think about it like this. You're wearing a mask, right? The wearing a mask can all be summed up in like a simple like paragraph, right? Let's say I have to pee, right? And Mark and Jeff are standing right next to me.
While he pees.
I don't have any pants on. Neither do Mark or Jeff.
Nope.
I pee, they get wet, right? If Jeff and Mark both have pants on, right, and I pee, chances are they'll probably get wet, but they won't get as wet, right? A little splashback, right?
Yeah.
Now, say all three of us have pants on and I pee, I'm the only one getting wet.
Boom. You heard it here first. Don't piss your pants.
As long as and with that being said, it's like, you can handle it, like I wear a mask all day long at work.
And I have no idea how you do it.
It's not that hard. Like, it's not that hard.
No, it's not. I agree that once you get used to it, you get, what's the term?
Adjusted.
No. Desensitized to it. Your body doesn't notice it as much. But I think exactly
right.
But I hate socks though. My initial question was more along the lines of, has disease has the world's idea of protection against transmitting disease changed due to this, or is it going to be a lot more common?
Yeah, like I have to agree with Jeff. I think it's too soon to tell.
But if you had to make a call right now, do you think that more people are going to continue wearing masks forever? That it will become like more of a fashion thing and more ingrained in our lives, or do you feel like this will fade off?
In all honesty,
we will go back to, because I don't like to wear one, but I will for other people's safety.
In all honesty, dude, I really have no idea. I don't think.
I believe that it's going to be more normal to wear one.
I think it is.
I think it will be. Situations like
airports,
flying in a plane and stuff.
Groups,
yes.
Or cruise ships, or maybe even like concerts.
Yeah.
Things like where there's people like where sardine cans.
Huge crowds. Yes.
Right.
Mass transit and stuff.
And I don't think it will be like it is now.
You can't go to a restaurant and not wear a mask and the drink and eat roll and stuff.
I think it will definitely be more common, more along
I agree. I like that. I like that a lot. Yes.
Even now, even before the pandemic, when I was going to the airport, we occasionally see somebody of Asian descent wearing a mask. And now I understand why they're doing that. I never understood why. The only person I'd seen wearing a mask was Michael Jackson, and he was a fucking weirdo.
Right. No, you're not wrong.
No, yeah.
But I think
but he wore it so that other people didn't catch the pedophilia. Yes, I went there.
Ouch.
Because it wasn't political and it wasn't religious. It was loud. It was loud. And that's why I went there.
You just hit on MJ. R.I.P.
Yeah, you know what? MJ. He made great music, but he was still a fucked up person.
Stop. Just
talented man. And he was raised horribly and everything. Yeah. I'm not saying that he wasn't abused himself, but
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay, so
just-
Anyway, so segue. How do you like our new setup? The table's lower. You can't see my
Look.
knees anymore.
I'm gonna go
I'm not
ahead.
even wearing
I'm gonna go
pants.
ahead and segue here as well. So we broke into this from the break with The Dream Intended. This is also like a hip hop track, but it was a song. So just to try to like backtrack on the music, right? So I have like a small hip hop project with a guy named Holtz, who you may or may not meet. At
I
some
know
point.
Holtz. He's a good dude.
This song in particular was, if you recognize the beat, you'll know exactly what song this is. As soon as the hook comes in, like, and like what I thought was funny was when we were recording this, I was thinking to myself, like, this was one of the Brandos, right? And I remember thinking, like, somebody's gonna sue me because I don't have the rights to this song, but like, this holds his verse, right? But wait until the hook comes in, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
okay.
Yeah, you remember this? Okay, okay.
I like it. I like it a
Okay.
lot. I like that a lot. That was good
So
hook.
that's a riff. That's one there, right? The
Uno
one-
más, uno más.
This one. Now take a listen to this one. This is literally a song that I was like, I literally was thinking in my head, like, yo, what if we just slowed this down a little bit? And I remember being at the band house and talking to you actually and being like, what do you think about this? Like for a Brando's track, maybe. And-
Weezer covered this.
Really? See, this is what I'm saying. This is like,
I like the Brandos better.
I mean, it's a universal track, like, you know what I mean? But like when it comes down to making music, like you can cross genres. This is a prime example, right? Now you know what song this is, right?
Me? Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know what song?
Yeah. Hang on though.
Yeah. Wait until the hook. Like Blues Travelers.
Yeah.
You feel it?
Yeah.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. So that's just a,
Yeah.
but what I'm getting at is that, like, so circling back all the way to MGK, I knew him as a rapper based out of Cleveland and repping Cleveland. And to see him drop a punk rock album is like unbelievable. However,
Cool guys.
with that being said, when we started this break, we started playing The Dream Intended. That was like the Dream Intended. That was the band that Jeff and I met Mark in. And like, that's how like this whole friendship started. Like,
Yeah.
when this whole episode we've been talking about artists and musicians and bands that we all really enjoy, and what you got to understand is that it's not because we enjoy them just to enjoy them. We enjoy them because they are amazing artists.
Because it speaks to you.
Yeah, they can create with other artists and bring up this. What are you trying to do, bro?
Trying to find some Drop Monday.
Oh, bro, just go back again. And then
We're gonna do some Drop Monday too. We got to
yeah,
represent.
yeah.
What the fuck?
All right, now I'm finding some Drop Monday. Give me a second here.
Did we pause the thing whenever we took our break?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't.
I did.
Hey, Drop
Cause
Mondizzle.
because I'm nice like that. Here's Mark's band, by the way.
This was the band I joined and I met Cheech while I was in. And I did not want to join this band until I heard Brando sing, and then I was like, well, fuck.
Brando has been on this show as well.
Yep. Why is it all fucky?
Sorry, man. It'll even out. It'll even out.
That's how I remember it.
That's my fault. That's why.
Hey, Jeff, well played.
Actually, I met Mark.
You guys had a chick singer. When did you meet me?
Whenever we went to CC. You didn't
Sean.
know this, but we went to CCAC together. And I remember class or anything, to be turning around to look at her, like where you were sitting next to her, and I was like, man, I hope he's not fucking yelling at him.
I don't remember that. What, were we in a math class?
That was history. Taylor.
I was there for like two.
Yeah, you weren't there.
No. I went to like 2 classes.
But I just remember the blonde curly locks.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing that dude on stage playing bass with drum. I remember that guy.
You knew Sean Steele though, right?
Maybe. I don't know who that is.
I shouldn't say names, but
Yeah, let's not say names.
That's-
My
that's-
no, it sounds like a porn star name, though, doesn't it?
my point being is that we all wound up coming together at this place called WPMG, Western Pennsylvania Musicians Group, which was a place.
Ralph's.
Yeah, Ralph's. It was a place where we could all get together and just
He's still alive. I have no idea how.
He just had like a live video. Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
How? I don't know.
Like,
This
the worst nutrition and unfiltered cigarettes for 30 years.
okay, so I want to give a big shout out to Ralph Moffat, because this man created
Huzzah to Ralph.
all of the songs that you're hearing today were cultivated at Ralph Moffat's place.
They were.
And the reason why
Straight
I'm
up.
bringing this up is because we're talking about artists and we're talking about how they create, right? And you have all these different bands and all these different artists, but they create in different perspectives, different environments. And if you're able to create outside of that environment, then you are a true artist, I feel. Like if you're able to create outside of like where you feel comfortable, I feel like that makes you a true artist.
I'm gonna disagree there and say that I don't think where you come from necessarily. Just because you have to be in your space to create doesn't mean you're not a true artist. You're just a different kind of artist.
Sure,
I agree with that.
Think about famous writers, and remember the movie Jack Black, Ocean County or Orange County, where like the kid learns that to be a great writer, he doesn't have to go away to a fancy college.
Mhm.
He just has to allow his life. He has to accept his life around him and where he's from, and that he has to realize that's his inspiration. That's where his creativity came from and where it's going to grow. And I do think that getting out of that zone, if you can, is good. But just because you create from a one area doesn't mean you're not a great artist.
No, for
Yeah.
sure. I would say that the ability to do that makes you
Yes,
maybe,
yes.
takes you from
Yeah.
great. Maybe that's the difference between
Legendary.
being great and elite. Or,
Elite, yeah.
A master of artistry.
Yep,
You know
yep.
what I mean? Like
Yeah. Some people maybe are never inspired or don't have the history or the life experience to do this kind of thing.
Or there's confidence
Sure.
that is involved. So as a
Sure.
musician, like you could go into your practice room and fucking jam out spot on every time.
because nobody's gonna see you.
But the minute you get in front of a crowd,
Right.
there's nerves, there's thinking involved, and there's
Anxiety.
angst and anxiety.
Like,
And so
there's so much that goes on.
you have to have a love to entertain.
The creative process is so different for everybody. Some people are born with just the ability to
Naturally create.
naturally create, and other people get to there a different way. Like I know personally, whenever I sit down with my guitar and I think, okay, I'm going to write something, what I do is nothing. Like I'll sit there and
Yeah.
I'll try to write something,
Yeah.
and I will come up with a few things, but it never comes into a song. But when I would listen, and this is the dream intended, right? I would listen to you sing lyrics,
Mhm.
or Jake would play something on his guitar,
Inspiration.
then I would hear what I wanted to do in my head, and then I have to sit down with my guitar and find it, which was a fucking process.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how I was able to contribute to the music we were making. But if you and I were to sit down and say write something so I can write some lyrics, it would never happen.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I actually found "So Let It Go" the other day.
Mhm.
We have a recording of like this song when we first started, like Dream Intended.
That was Kurt.
Yeah, and you gotta think like some musicians just need other creative minds. Like
Well-
I brought up Motion City Soundtrack during one of the breaks, right? Like Motion City Soundtrack broke up, and Justin Pierre like started his own solo project, right? And it sounded like Motion City Soundtrack without a more Moog synthesizer, right?
Moog.
The drummer
Moog.
for MCS was fucking sick, so then they were missing that too.
Right.
Outside of that,
Right. So you can actually critique the style of what the music is. You know what I mean? Like, so okay. So with that being said, and with this entire podcast, let's go ahead and bring in some final thoughts. Here.
Wait. Before we
Go
do
ahead,
that,
go
let me
ahead,
add
go ahead.
something to that.
Yeah.
So you're talking about gifts. Different people have different gifts.
Absolutely.
I'll bet you that those stars that let's pick Milli Vanilli, right? They can sing and they can perform. They couldn't even sing. All right, they could perform.
Yeah, I'm glad that you actually brought them up because that's where the final thought is going.
Or let's look at just the concept of having the front person, beautiful, great voice, singing the ghostwriter song. Somebody who can write music but can't perform it well.
Correct.
Like, I can write music, but I can't sing very well. So like, that's all I did was yell in the deep voice.
And I'm glad that.
But that's my thing is like,
yeah,
there are people like those singers might actually just want to be able to write beautiful music, and they can't, and that pisses them the f out,
Yeah.
And so
you can swear, Mark. It's our podcast. Yeah, you can say fuck. You don't have to say F. And that's exactly not to interject.
Good. No, you're good.
That's exactly where my final thought was going. With my final thought, right? And my question to you guys is going to be the same thing. What band let you down the absolute most seeing them live? For me personally, I remember being like 13, 12, somewhere in that age range. No, I had to have been 12. And we were going to see Mephistopheles at Club Laga in Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's how long ago this was. And I remember like my parents being like, all right, I guess you can join like a what band? A ska band? Like, I don't know what that is, but you're playing trumpet and we paid for it. So good for you. Like, go fucking do it. Like, and I went to go see Mephistopheles and I was 12 at the time. And I just remember hearing the CD and being like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. The Pilfers opened up for Mephistopheles. It was the Pilfers, Mephistopheles, and there was another band too. No, I can't remember. It was another like ska band, but I just remember like the Pilfers blew me the fuck away, and I was an absolute fan from day one, like when I saw them. And then like I'm waiting for Mephistopheles to take the stage, and they get up there, and like I had been listening to their albums like nobody's business, and like knew them front and back. And they get up on stage, and they were so terrible, it blew my mind. Another band that did that was Cursive. Like Cursive, I absolutely fucking love them. Like their album, Ugly Organ, I don't think there's anybody that can touch them. But when I saw them live, I was like, this is super overproduced. And like, you guys can't produce like what you're recording. With that being said, final thoughts. A show that you have been to or an artist that you have seen that has left you kind of meh, as opposed to the recordings and the albums that you fell in love with. Whoever would like to take the floor first.
Please, Jeff.
See, I'm not sure that I think that I've been lucky enough that I haven't experienced states like that.
Okay, good.
You mean to tell me that you haven't like went to?
No, there's been bands I've never been gone to a show and
Wow.
where it was just completely different.
I've been to a lot of local shows like that.
I was gonna say like not even locally wise, you haven't. Yeah, well.
Oh, you know what? Fuck it.
First of all, not thinking of myself, but the last thing I ever want to do is a band play after.
Yeah, that.
Because you're getting set up.
Yeah.
So that's the first time I saw a System of a Down. It was at Club Laga.
Really? That'd be good.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Wow. System of a Down at Club Laga?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was like right when like Sugar was like
oh my God.
Early on.
It was great. Playing this song, and the singer came in, so
Oh,
he was
And then,
drunk.
and then they stopped. and
See,
yelled at each
yes.
other, and the guitar player who also sings said, "Sorry, it's Serge's birthday. We got him too stoned."
Oh
So
my
he said,
God.
"We're gonna try this again."
See, that's cool though.
But it was
Yeah.
cool.
You know, you play it off like
at the time. I was
it's a
like,
good story.
Yeah.
Remember that show we went to where System of a Down forgot what song they were playing?
Oh my
You know what I
God.
mean? Like it's a good story.
Yeah.
The only time I wrote them, they weren't bad. But thinking back, some of them was nowhere near what I hoped they would be. It was primarily because of the vocalist. Like, and I'm a terrible singer, but like
Oh yeah.
the hook, "What's it feel like to be a ghost?" You know what I mean? He would sing it. You know, if you want to hear the song, go listen to the song Apple Music, Spotify, whatever.
Yeah.
But he would sing
What's
it.
it feel like to be a ghost?
Right.
Yeah.
He would sing it. "What's it feel like to be a ghost?" Or, what's it feel like to be a ghost? Like he was.
Like
I
not.
don't know that he.
He
Maybe
was
they,
stoned.
maybe they were on tour for too long and didn't have the ability to do anymore. Maybe he wasn't feeling it.
Absolutely.
Maybe he just couldn't do it in the first place. I don't know. The band killed it. The band sounded great,
Yeah.
but like maybe it's part of it might be my problem with just expectations.
Mhm.
What you expect and you want to hear, like, I fucking love the song and I want to hear this
Right.
dude that belts these fucking lyrics out
Right.
on this album. I want to hear him do that live. And
That's what I'm talking about.
and I'm not, and I couldn't even say that he sounded different because when he was singing, he sounded exactly the same as he did on the album.
Right.
But I at the time I attributed it more to effort and want to than
Sure.
skill.
Right.
Like almost like he was phoning it in or just didn't really fucking care enough. And he was cool. He was putting on a show. He was talking to the crowd. It's like, I'm not saying that he wasn't putting effort there. But like those little things like that, it wasn't just that song. That's just the biggest example that I can give.
Oh sure.
That had me feeling that way. But it was fine. But then, like I said before, when we were talking, Coheed and Cambria came on and fucking blew them out of the water. We can put on one of the greatest performances I've ever seen.
To circle back, which is why I put them in master metal, dude.
Look at you.
I'm just saying. I mean, given that, wouldn't you put them in master metal as well? Like, and that was the point that I was getting at. You know what I mean?
Some of them.
Did you say final thought or thoughts?
Final thoughts.
That's
Okay.
That
Just
most
wondered.
blown away I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
But since you didn't ask this question, I'm getting
Yeah.
No, that's
do
please
it.
do.
I've seen Incubus a number of times. Incubus is would be one of my top three.
That would be a show I would love. Yeah.
Mine was Marilyn Manson.
I saw them.
Mhm.
Like I said, I've seen them a number of times, but for the morning view tour, my friends and I got to this show super early, Civic Arena, and ran to the front. We weren't against the railing, but we were behind the people who were against the railing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The morning view tour, the morning view show they put on changed my life. Not in any particular way, just in terms of setting the bar for a live performance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
The whole show was great, but they went off, they finished their show, and my favorite song, probably one of the most personally meaningful songs to me in the world, is a song called "The Warmth" by Incubus. It's
Absolutely.
an album
Oh my
track.
God.
Never a single, but it's an album track. I think any fan of Incubus will know that song. Right?
Kind of like Fungus Amongus.
So I looked at exactly. I looked at people, and it didn't even trigger come on, they're doing an encore. But at the time, I didn't. We thought that we had found something special and that nobody else.
Nobody knew this
because
beat track.
there was no internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was nobody. There was no message boards for people talking about how great the song was. We just thought
Right.
it was just our favorite song.
right.
And they come on. There's two songs for an encore.
Yes.
The Warmth is the one they start with.
Ah.
Blows our fucking mind.
Yeah.
And then something that we didn't expect. They bring out these different instruments. Like they bring out this big the bass drum that's like fixed flat with big pallets. They brought out a sitar. And they start playing Aqueous Transmission, which is the final song on Morning View. If you
It sure is.
If you don't know.
Sure is.
And the song itself is very atmospheric and very beautiful.
Yeah.
And
It ends with frogs chirping.
right,
Like,
and the way they ended it live. And again, the drummer is just
Yep.
the way they end as the song ended. Brandon, the singer, was the first one to walk off, but each different member of the band would stop playing their instrument and they would leave while the rest of the people stopped. So like I think it was Brandon, and then maybe the DJ, and then the guitar player, and then the bass player, and finally the drummer was the last one to leave. And so here this concludes probably the most epic show that I had seen, and based on the reactions of those around me, like everybody else felt the same way too.
Yeah.
So you would expect massive applause, right? But just the way this song is and the way that they perform that, and Holt was there. If he's watching, he'll confirm this. It was just dead fucking silence, but not out of disinterest.
Yeah.
It was just complete
In awe.
trance.
Yeah.
Everybody and nobody turned around. Nobody left. The lights fucking came on before anybody even turned around to go take a piss. It was just like this.
Yeah.
That's a sign
Magical moments.
a perfect moment. That's exactly right. And that's what like, as not to interject here, but like as an artist, that's what you look to create, is that perfect magical moment. You know what I mean? Like every time that you step foot on stage, you look for that perfect magical moment.
In 5 shows, you might have one moment where the band is spot on perfect and everything's grooving, and that's what you play for, right?
Correct.
That's that feeling that you can't explain. That like
it's a high that you'll never understand.
It's amazing. So all right, my final thoughts. One, I want to say that the best concert I've ever been to, the one that changed my view of concerts, was a Marilyn Manson, the first Marilyn Manson show I ever went to. It was the Antichrist Superstar tour. It was at the Civic Arena.
Oh my God, the Civic Arena.
Yeah, and so we're up in the stands, and as I'm looking down, this was a spur of the moment show. Like I didn't plan to go, and I'm looking down, and they play the song "Antichrist Superstar," and when you see, the song's like dun dun hey, dun dun hey, dun dun hey. So I'm looking down on this arena of people, and he's up on his podium. Sorry. And the song kicks in, and it's like dun dun. At that point, 30,000 fists just go in the air. Hey, dun dun, hey. To watch that control over a group of people like this, it was so inspiring and so amazing. So that was my best concert. Worst concert, my favorite Pious Cherry.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't think of a point where anybody's really let me down going to a show, minus a TBI show. No, I'm kidding. Drop Monday for Life. Woo! No, I'm kidding. Oh shit, that's right. No, so like I would say probably the least. So I go every year in the summer, except for this year, they put on concerts in the park, South Park, right? Every year they do a 90s band, and I've gone to quite a few of them.
We went to one with you, actually.
Did you come with us to the one? So we've seen like Lit was good. We saw
Tonic was there.
Tonic. We watched Tonic. What was Eve 6 we saw?
Yeah. But there was another band we saw there. It was like the Rib Fest or something.
Oh no, we saw at the Rib Fest we saw who's the guy that did Santa Monica?
Everclear.
Everclear. We saw Everclear. No, but so this is different. This is actually the free concerts that they do across the street.
Okay.
At the they have a big like setup stage. And I have to be honest, so like I'm a big old school Eve 6 fan ever since that song. And bass player being a singer and stuff, awesome. And I have to be honest, seeing them live was just like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh, they still suck.
Yeah.
And a lot of those bands are using that show as one of their warm-ups to go on a big tour. Right. So like I saw Lit before they were going on a big that was a great show. Great show.
I've seen Eve 6 twice. Actually, the first time I saw them was Graffiti.
Oh, that would have been great.
Lit opened for them.
Are we Eskimo brothers? They've seen the same band somehow. I don't know.
But I saw Eve 6 the 25-year anniversary of their first album.
Yeah.
They were fucking good. I thought they were good.
So the show was good, but maybe not what I expected. But like musically, they sounded good.
They weren't as
But
good as
I
they were
was
the first time I
looking
saw them.
for like a jumpy, like '90s alt punk band kind of feel to the
Right.
show,
It's
and I didn't get that. I got a bunch of old dudes sitting around like, all right, it's something to do for a Friday night.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say, like, do you remember, like, and this is a total segue, but do you remember whenever we opened for Ween? Like,
Wheatus.
excuse me,
All right,
Wheatus?
teenage dirtbag,
Yeah,
baby.
and that's, dude, that is a prime example of a band that knows that they are a one-hit wonder.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they like
Have a good
that's
time
it.
with it.
Yeah, like
They're huge in Australia.
yeah, and that's just it. We were so thrilled to open for Wheatus. We were like, oh my god, this is gonna be like such a huge show for us. And meanwhile, Wheatus is like playing the VFW in like fucking like nowhere.
Yeah.
Irwin. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's but
They
like
don't give a shit.
But they fucking blew me away though. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No.
You're just not listening?
No, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Again, this VFW in Irwin.
Mm-hmm.
Power kicks off.
Yep.
Right. Wheatus being pros over 10,000 hours, right? They had two.
They had singers from like
Australian female backup singers
yeah,
who were hot, but super hot because they were singers.
Right? Yeah.
right.
Good looking girls, but because they were singing with Wheatus, like
Way more attractive.
Way more attractive. Right?
Yeah.
But he just said, "Screw it." Played his acoustic guitar, and with those two sang, and he sang.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They did "Teenage Dirtbag," "Wannabe Gangster," which I remember the fuck out of that song now, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And I remember being grateful that the power went out,
right,
so that I could experience that, because that impressed me far more than them playing,
spot on to a song in a big show
that I'd heard on the radio.
Yeah,
right.
So I saw them, Wheatus and Zebrahead at Laga on a free low do show. Remember the X did low do shows? It was a free show there. It was awesome.
I saw Wheatus, 5 bands for $5. Wheatus,
yeah,
Seventh House, Stroke 9, and a couple other bands.
Yep.
I saw Zebrahead open for Real Big Fish at Laga.
Oh, that'd been good too. Loved Laga, probably my favorite venue in Pittsburgh at one point.
So when we talk about this, right, and we're talking about like local musicians, we're talking about bands that like came from nowhere. So the way that the record labels work, and we've talked about this before, is you have these major labels. Like somebody doesn't just come to a show and go like, oh, I'm going to sign you to a label. Like, what does that mean? Like getting signed to a label, like. Right.
That'd be like somebody showing up in this basement going, oh, I want to sign you to a podcast label.
Right. Like it's.
We'd be like, who the fuck are you and why are you here?
I Gimlet.
What I'm saying is that everything is constantly changing. Like with the evolution of the internet, right? We immediately changed from being like, okay, we have to have like tapes and we have to have CDs to we have to be able to stream our media, right? And like that's the point where we're at right now. Like when an album drops, you better be ready for that to be streaming and fuck the hard copies because nobody.
Albums are basically.
All right. With that being said, final thought. What was the last CD you bought? Purchased. What was the last CD you purchased?
Ace of Base. No, wait, that was the first one.
I was about to say if that was the last one, you gotta return that shit.
Okay, the last one that I know for sure that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a physical copy. The last time I paid for an album.
Okay.
Which one? No. What was that? One with
I don't think God had anything to do with it.
The one
Yeah, you're right.
The one that he was torn to support when we saw him. It was the Spade.
Blue 12.
Yeah.
Oh, the Spade. Me.
Yeah.
Last album. Excuse me.
The only reason I bought that was because I wanted to support him.
Right.
I mean, no, I didn't.
Napster.
Can't
What?
prove it.
LimeWire. What?
Torrents.
I was VPN.
Me too.
Because this is a new thing. This is
VPNs. That's what I'm looking for.
That's like wearing a face mask and you're around the public.
It is.
You're autonomous. You know what I mean?
So, it's so funny going into the bank with a face mask on now.
Expecting to get tackled.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But I walk past cops going into the bank with a face mask on and sunglasses.
They're like, this is
So
the new norm.
last album I paid for CD would have been, I can't even remember.
Keep thinking about it, but like just while you're thinking about it, I want to bring up. Do you remember what a big deal it was to look at the Best Buy ads?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
see what
absolutely.
CDs were
And
coming
see
out
what
and
was
stuff.
coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
What was dropping?
And usually, unless it was like a very well established band, you could probably get the CD for like $7.
I know what it
Absolutely.
was. I know what the last CD, physical CD I ever bought was.
What was it?
It was Alabama Shakes. What's it called? Lights and Sounds, I think, is their first album.
Sure.
Wow.
And I remember this because I went to Best Buy and there's like one row of CDs now, right? And I'm like, oh, obviously they're not there. They weren't super well known, but they were well enough that I knew they would have the album. So I was like, I asked the guy for it. He's like, there might be one in the back. I'd have to go look. I was like, would you? Like, I actually want to buy an
Please?
album, please.
Right. I'd like to
You
purchase
know?
this.
And the guy's like, all right, I'll go look for 5 minutes. And I was like, that's fair enough. 5 minutes is fine.
Right, like, well, who puts a time
Right,
on
right,
the fucking
right.
like, looking time?
I mean,
like,
who knows how big their stock room is?
that's fucking retarded.
But I said,
Right,
fair enough.
right.
He came back in 4.5 minutes with the album. Because he's like, it
Well
says
played.
there's one here. So that's why he said, I'll give it 5 minutes. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And he came back with it. And I listened to the album. And I got to be honest, the 2 songs I knew were the only 2 good songs on the album. I hate that.
Physical copy of the CD I bought.
Ooh.
At your Hard Rock Cafe reunion show.
Oh, the one we sold out. That's the only time we ever made actual good money. I didn't know we had albums for sale. I didn't know we had an album. Can you send that to me?
Mark was in the band that doesn't even have a copy of his own.
You know, I'm so bad with the lyrics that I was in the band and played the songs thousands of times, and I don't know the lyrics to any of them.
But realistically, though, do you know the bass notes to them?
Nope.
You don't remember the bass notes that
No.
you wrote.
So I am naturally not a musician. Like, my art form is not sound. My natural art form is visual. I'm very good with balance, color, value, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am not naturally a musician. I'm tone deaf when it comes to singing. And like, you could play a note. I couldn't tell you what the fuck it was. I can't read music. I just know how to play the guitar, the bass. I know how to play it well enough that, like, you tell me, here's what we're doing, and I could run with it. Like a
035, 035.
yeah, 035, 035, and then I'll be like 035, 57, 59. You know, like, I know how to run, I know how to embellish. I'm more of a performer than a musician. I'm better on stage and making it look good than I am actually playing the music. And that's how, like, I'm a visual artist more than anything. I always have been.
You know what?
Music is not my strong point.
In my final thoughts here, I did a music video for Drop Monday years ago, if you remember correctly.
Fucking right. That was my favorite. I look so cool.
For their song Over You.
Water all over.
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
It was shot down at Ralph's.
It was.
This will just like show you like what we went through. Like, so okay, so we were shooting a music video I was in film school at the time, and I was shooting a music video for a class project, and I was like, well, fuck it, like, I don't have to get the licensing rights. Like, I know Brandon and I know Mark and I know all the dudes in the band, like, they're fucking friends of mine, like, they'll let me do this. We wound up making this music video, and like, I cast my cousin in it. I cast like all kinds of people in it, and like, this is like my like real.
There's a dude in this video that nobody else knows. He just happened to be in the video that I've known for years.
Who's that?
Scuba Steve.
Oh my God!
Remember the scene where
you are 100% correct.
She comes in and it pans into the
it's
veranda.
It was at Duke's.
There's a dude chilling in the background who's like part of it.
Steve.
It's Scuba. You know Scuba Steve?
I do know Scuba Steve.
I know Scuba Steve.
Yeah. Wow. All right, that's something we'll talk about later. But
yeah.
That's.
But my fucking chin's in that video too.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, your chin is the Butch Walker album. Yep. And that's where we'll leave it today. The music industry, like, so I made it. If you want to look it up, you can. It's on YouTube. But
check it out.
I wanted making this whole music video, and like, Jeff was there. Jeff helped me as well, and like, you know, you build this imagery or based upon the song that you're hearing. And the reason that I bring this up is because we're all talking about the experiences that we've had at shows, right? And like why musicians are artists in that aspect, right? Like just anybody can create a song, right? Like anybody can make music just putting samples together and using other people's art forms. But to truly create and cultivate an art and being able to transcend that across genres and across things, that's where I think we really hit like a different point. And that's where I think artistry comes into play. When you can say that you're an artist as opposed to just like I'm a musician, I'm a drawer, I'm an inker, and that's a famous reference to a great film as well. Like, oh, you're just an inker. You know what I mean? Like, what was it? Chasing Amy.
I was gonna say, it
Kevin
has to
Smith.
be Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, man, like an amazing film. Like,
Hey, I'll tell you what, inking is hard as fuck.
you look at his,
Perfect.
you look at his like transition from Clerks to Mallrats to Chasing Amy, and it's like he's another artist that like just is able to transcend different genres of film.
We're talking Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
dude, what about fucking Dogma?
That, dude, there's tons of Kevin
Oh,
Smith
Dogma's
films
my
out there.
favorite.
But he also has comic book men as well.
Yep,
where
yep.
They establish, you know, and
But he's done other movies that aren't even in that line. I mean,
Absolutely.
he's a
That's-
great actor. I love and producer. Just a very creative mind.
Hey,
Mhm.
you were asking me for that podcast. I've been listening to a couple of his podcasts for a long time. Listening to podcasts. He's
I've made it a point not to listen to podcasts that teach you anything.
no, it doesn't.
So that's why we started this.
This one doesn't.
Yeah, you ain't gotta learn shit. But we're funny. And if we're not, fuck you too. Yeah, okay.
Just as a final thought, and this might take us somewhere else. And if you want to, you can cut this and use it as like a separate little.
We're not cutting shit, so say what you want to say. That's what, no, we're,
No, but you buttoned it up very nicely. Not because I'm opening it back up.
No,
open it
go
back
for
up.
Weeks ago, whenever we first talked about me coming on,
Mhm.
I asked, what should I prepare to talk about? And I see what stupid fucking question that was.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
But you said
You can't prepare.
the old times. So I'm sort of thinking about our time together and playing music. I don't know how I expected this to come up, and now I'm making it come up by bringing it up. I thought of
Segue.
memories that I have, right? And I came up with 3 solid memories of performing that I have, and I would like to hear what yours are. But I have 3, right? And again, I have lots of memories of performing. Looking out at the crowd, and like I remember almost every show. Maybe not every show with Excuses or every show with the Moose,
Right.
because we did those a lot. But I remember
Sure.
there are 3 times that I really remember, like whether I was doing it on purpose or not. Actually, one time I was for sure doing that. Is I remember very clearly like a scene or a mental picture that's still very clear in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first is we were playing in Station Square. The only time we ever played this place, I don't think. No, Station Square, the Strip District. I think the first time we ever played this place, probably the only time we ever played it. I think this place has probably changed names 15 times since then. I think it was called Bar 11. I don't remember.
No, that's the south side.
Okay, so that wasn't it.
It's not bar 11.
No.
Donzi's in the strip. You mean on the actual river?
It was on the Strip. All I remember is the windows were open.
Mhm.
It was the last show we played before Jake joined the band permanently, but he came on and did like 2 songs with us. One of them was My Name Is Jonas. But what I remember, the reason I remember this is because there was like this railing around the stage that none of us talked about, but we all did on our own. We all stood on this railing, and it wasn't like we weren't being like gymnastics, but it was no bigger than 8 inches wide, probably less. And I remember having this pedal board. I just said, the hell with the pedal board, it's down there, and we all stood up on this railing for the entire show. And usually we would jump around a little bit. This time it was more just straight Korn, Slipknot,
Right.
bowing back and forth. But man, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was just, I just remember that very, very different feeling. I remember us all standing up there, and somehow none of us fell, none of us fucked up too terribly.
Yep.
But I remember that one. Second one I remember. Smalls was always a great place to perform, right?
Wow.
Mr. Smalls was always amazing.
Loved it. Yep.
Yeah.
So was
Mine's from there.
So was Pepsi at the theater. So was Hard Rock. I had great memories of there.
Love the Hard
But
Rock.
not in the same way that I'm describing here. So we played one time. We played at Smalls. I don't remember who we played with, but it was in the time leading up to the most recent Steelers Super Bowl win when we beat
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah.
Who did we beat? It would beat the Cardinals. Greatest
Cardinals,
fucking
yep.
football game of all time, by the way.
Arguably.
I don't think it was. I think it was a Saturday. I don't remember if it was the Saturday before the Super Bowl, Saturday between, Saturday before the AFC Championship game. But again, we didn't talk about this, but we all showed up in Steeler jerseys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we're Pittsburgh.
Why not?
That's what
Yeah.
you fucking do.
That's what you do.
And we all had terrible towels.
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah.
And this particular, this memory specifically is, we closed as we did with First Aid Heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Correct.
remember the crowd was feeling it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we were just making noise with our guitar and convincing people to keep making noise because it's fun. And I remember grabbing the terrible towel out of your jeans because I don't know where mine went, and spinning it around, and just that moment of had the combination of us playing an awesome show at an awesome venue. With the excitement of the Steelers and everything like that.
Right.
I remember that clearly.
We had the same fucking thing go on with a show at the Hard Rock before the Super Bowl before that when we beat the Seahawks.
Right.
It was before the AFC game, and I sang Timmy.
Yeah.
But I sang it using like Bill Cowher and Jerome Bettis and all these instead, and the crowd was fucking screaming. It was almost packed. I mean, it was yeah. Okay, so yeah, same idea. I know the energy.
Right. So, and the last one, and this is like, if what they say is true about your life flashing before your eyes, I really hope this is like the one that is the last one that I remember before I close my eyes forever. And this is Smiling Moose at our album release party for Breakout with the Movies. Right. So, and I remember that whole show was fantastic. We played our album from beginning to end, which is very different order than our typical set list was.
Correct.
And then the last song on the album, the last song we played was Blindfolds Off, which is just me and you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And never performed that song live because it's an acoustic song on the album.
Yep.
But the song itself is not a difficult song to play. And it's obviously not a heavy song, so I'm not jumping around. So I remember, and like I said, when we started talking about this is the one time that I know for sure that I made it a point to make this memory. And I'm so glad that I did. Because I had walked up and I think we were either leaning back against each other or you had your arm around me when I'm playing. And we're playing this song. And I remember this was the time that I really looked out to remember it. And the Smiling Moose was fucking packed to the brim.
Yeah.
I remember seeing our friends all over the place, our friends and people that have been coming to shows.
Yep.
And I remember looking all the way to the back, packed to the brim. And I remember seeing the doorman, who was Pete, was there, always there. He was every eye facing forward. And I remember the door being open.
Yep.
And I remember seeing people that I knew and other people that I didn't know on the street looking through the window because they couldn't come in because it was so packed.
That was creating a moment.
And that was exactly creating a moment, and I will never forget it. I treasure it just as much as I can possibly treasure a memory. And then obviously we finished that song, and we did 2 new songs as an encore. And just that show in general was incredible with that moment, especially.
We had one of those at Nick's Fat City, and I actually have a picture of like from behind me going out to the crowd, just showing like people on that balcony and everything, and just it was really great. So my last thing, we're gonna have to end this fucker, otherwise I'm not gonna have enough time in the day to actually process this thing. But the greatest moment we ever had at a live show, I think it's Drop Monday, was we're playing at Mr. Small's, and we had this new band contact us to open for us, and we were like, yeah, fuck it, meet us down there, we'll play a show, and before the show, like before we even met this band, there's all these like young kids showing up. Well, there was this like middle school / early high school band shows up, shake our hands, they're the opening band, and we're like, all right, whatever, cool, find out it's their first show. There's like 100 fucking 13-year-olds in the crowd, right?
High school kids drew crowds, man.
Oh,
dude,
so much.
I'll tell you, it was incredible.
So much.
So like they're behind, like they're backstage. We're in the green room drinking and stuff. They're like between the green room and the stage because they couldn't come back. And so we all go out and like they're nervous, they're sweating. You could tell they're like pacing. And so we all kind of took a kid and we just kind of coached him into it. We were like, go out there. great time. These people are here to see you, you know. They want to see you. Go and show them, you know. And I'll tell you what, these kids played a pretty fucking good show. It was really incredible. We were on the side, we're coaching them, cheering for them. You know, they'd look over at us, we'd give them a good like fist in the air, like, yeah, you know, and they rocked out. One kid did fall off the stage into the pit between.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Fantastic.
It was great. He got up, he got back on stage, kept playing, you know, it was great. But I'll tell you what, that was the moment where it was like, this is what it's about. It's about sharing like the craft. It wasn't about getting fucked up or whatever at the time, you know. We really got to teach, we got to give these kids
The advice.
the ability to experience a
Yes.
great night for them.
You were part of that with them.
If those kids, not that they got laid at their age, but like if they were any older, they would have gotten laid. They probably got
Second-
kissed.
Second.
They probably, yeah, I'll bet they touched boobies for sure. For sure. Those kids rocked it that night. They had a great show. You could tell, like, from the beginning of the first song to the end of the first song, they changed who they were. Their balls dropped a little bit lower, you know, like.
I think the cool thing is, not that they're doing it, those kids are recording podcasts and talking about it.
They might talk about the same experience. Yeah.
You are part of that.
Remember those guys coached us, you know?
And that's
Meanwhile, we're just a bunch of drug stoned idiots. Like, hey, you get out there, have a good time. Those girls are gonna want to be with you.
realistically,
Yeah.
though, when you think about how other musicians can influence other artists, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna circle right on back to
Machine Gun Kelly.
to MGK
Hey.
to end this podcast, right? You brought up the first time you were introduced to MGK was when he started a beef with Eminem, right? Right. So we have an old head like Eminem who is proud and proven, who is merely getting into a altercation via artistry to do nothing more than cross promote their brands. The
My
two of
paintbrush
them,
is bigger than your paintbrush.
exactly. That's exactly what it is. Like, and they just, I mean, nobody talks about it. It wasn't a beef. They just both shot off shots, and both albums, like both singles, were knocked out of the park. Like, but this is the way that you said, like an old head giving advice to a new head. Everything changes. Music is currently evolving as we speak, so it's always evolving and changing. But music is always going to stay the same. We always still have like the same three chords. And my point being is that, again, artistry comes into it. If you can transcend genres, I consider you an artist.
You can't change what the ears and the mind find appealing.
Mhm.
You can only change how you create that.
Correct.
Boom.
Correct.
Fuck y'all.
With that being
Loud
said,
dispatch out.
Loud Dispatch. Jeff, the Magic Whirl.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you,
Thanks
Magic.
for being on, man.
Magic Whirl.
Yes, Loud Dispatch.
Take a